So in this video we'll learn about the Selenium WebDriver or the Selenium Web Testing Suite. Okay, so for running this Selenium WebDriver we need a few jar files, and occasionally we'll need a driver, or you can say a WebDriver exe file uh, on some platforms. Okay, so I have got my jar files over here. I have downloaded from the internet, and all these files need to be added into your Java project. So how to use the Java project? So here I have created a simple Java project, and I have added all the dependencies in this build file. Okay, so all the jar files. The other way to use this thing would be using a maven build. We are using an and build. Okay, so another way would be using maven build. So here in the project properties you would find all the libraries linked. Okay, so you can add the libraries or you can edit them as well. Okay, so I've already added it, so there's no point in removing and adding them again. But here you could see this thing. It has all the Selenium jar libraries, okay, and all the dependencies or the cross dependencies that Selenium needs are also inside this thing, in this folder. Okay, so the idea of Selenium is basically that it will call the browser, okay, for running the runnable tests. Okay, and from that test we could gather any kind of data that we want. Okay, so it offers direct DOM interaction. Okay, so what does that mean? It will interact with your web content. Okay, so to get started, the first thing that we will need here is the WebDriver. Okay, or you could simply take the specific browser driver. So my Chrome has a issue, so I'm using the Firefox driver. So I'll call this thing FD and new Firefox driver. Okay, and we are going to import this library for this thing, or you could say the class for this thing, Firefox driver. And now what we'll do is we'll use the get method. Okay, so get method, and here I will write http. Yeah, just find, I've created out a list for this thing. So first we'll be working on a list project. Okay, so to make things a bit easier. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch data of IMDb. Okay, that is the international, or you could say the internet movie database, not international. Okay, so here once I open this site, I'm going to close this site. Okay, there are two methods here. One is the close, another one is the quit method. Okay, so if you are having multiple driver windows, then you would have to use the close method. Okay, and if you are having, or you want to close all the drivers altogether, so then you could use simply quit. Okay, so now as I'm having only one driver active at a time, so we don't need to be bothered about whichever method we use. Doesn't make much of a difference. So let's just run this thing. This is a very simple way to connect to this thing. So we'll see, it should fire up the Firefox browser and close it immediately. Okay, so it has fired up the browser, and yeah, it has closed it, and it will occasionally throw some errors. Okay, so Firefox is known, sorry, the Selenium thing is known to throw a lot of errors. Okay, due to the versioning problems. So it's not really that much of a serious of a problem, but if you are having any compatibility issues, you need to find the relevant driver of your browser. So how do you find the relevant drivers of your browser? So basically you have to head over to the about section of your browser, and here you would find this build number. So according to this build number you have to download your drivers. Okay, so based on that your driver will control. For now we will not be needing any driver as such. Okay, so what I'm going to do is simply I'm going to fetch the title of this page. Okay, so like very simple part that we are doing here. Okay, system.out.println. System.out.println in Java is to print the output on screen. Okay, and this should tell you the file title. It will come into a black font and everything else will be red colored gibberish. Okay, so let's just start. And here it has started. Okay, it will open up and yeah, close down. See here, it is showing top 250 movies dash IMDb. Okay, so here's the list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this list, okay, and display it in my console. This place is called the console. Okay, so to do that thing, what we need to do is we need to find the internal DOM structure of this thing. So to do that, what we will do is we will press F12. Okay, so here is this F12, which is known as the inspect element block, and what we'll do is we will click on any of the internal rows of this thing. Okay, so here we will find this thing. Okay, we have clicked on the title column. Okay, so what we need to do is there are few ways we can get the elements, or you can say the DOM elements from your web page. Okay, so you could do that with the class name. Okay, another one is the ID of the DOM element, and there's another way called as the XPath, which is the one we are going to use over here. So by XPath we mean the XML path of the document. So there are two types of XPath. One is the absolute XPath and one is a relative XPath. So the distinction between the two is not sort of relevant at this point. Okay, but in the upcoming video we'll discuss about that point as well. Okay, so to make things happen, what we'll do is we'll just copy XPath, not the copy full XPath. So full XPath would give you an absolute XPath. So the idea of absolute XPath is that it will affect, or it will be kind of fragile to use. By fragile I mean that if the page structure changes, okay, like some new element is added or something, then the XML tree will break if you use a full XPath. So that point is using a relative XPath. So for this thing we could use a relative XPath in terms of the table tag. Okay, so table class, so inside all these things you could do that, but we will see that in some other video. For now we'll be focusing only on the basics, how to get data, how to interact with data and all these things. Okay, so for now I'm copying the XPath. I have already copied the XPath, I guess. Okay, so what we need to do is we have to take a web element. Okay, web element webx. Okay, and we'll say d, there is the driver dot find element. Okay, find element by, see here you have this options. There are different types of options: by class name, CSS selector, ID, link text, name, partial name, tag name, and XPath. Okay, so here we are going to use XPath. Okay, so I'll just copy this expression and okay, I have copied this thing. So here what I've done is I have copied the XPath of this field. Okay, which is the first, or you could say the second element in this one. So this is a table. Okay, this is a table format. You could see here in the DOM you could clearly see that this is a table. Inside table you have table body, and inside that you have tr, that is a table row, and td, which is a table data, or you could say the column of that thing. Okay, so here I have fetched till the column. Okay, so what I need to do here is, like, I need to make this thing as a list first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all the data from this one. So I'll just add a declaration for util.list. So Java data structure, that is the list, and web element org.openqa.selenium.webelement. So even if you don't remember the names of this thing, you could just find it on internet by searching for Selenium documentation. Okay, so class names wouldn't be much of a problem for you. Okay, so by.xpath, so what it will tell you is, it will tell you about the columns. Okay, if you eliminate the query over here, you would know about the columns. Okay, so like webex calls. Okay, how many columns have we got? We will just check. Okay, so to check that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this thing and number of columns, and we'll just display this thing webex columns and just run this thing. So technically there are like 1 2 3 4 columns, so let's see how many columns we are getting over here. Okay, I don't know, it has not fired up yet. Okay, it is doing something. Okay, so it has encountered some error, I guess. Just a second. No, it hasn't encountered any error. Okay, td find elements. Okay, sorry, dot size. Okay, so here I have to write size. Okay, and now it should show me the number of columns over here. Okay, so it has closed down. Okay, so number of columns is 5. Okay, 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, so here you could see either in the row thing 1 2 3 4 and 5. So XPath allows us to traverse in this way. See here, any one element, okay, of the tr, that is the table row, we could take and traverse through all the tds. Okay, so this would return us the list of all the table data that we have. Okay, similarly, if we copy this thing and just paste over here for the row count. Okay, so rows is also a bit easier, I would say. So here we will remove the td part and we'll remove this bracket 1, so it can traverse through all the rows in that table. Okay, so if you could copy this XPath, you would probably able to see that thing, but for now you would not be able to traverse that tree. But yeah, I will show you some other day. So for now, if we have this webex rows, okay, so I'll just copy this thing and you see, okay, and webex columns, number of rows, sorry, number of rows. So for this part, rows dot size, and let's hit it again. Okay, so it has stopped. See here, it is showing 250 columns. So we have already seen this is a list of 250 movies, so technically we are doing it right. Okay, so we have got the right number of rows and columns. So now the idea is to fetch all the data from this table. Okay, so how we are going to do that? We will take two loops. Okay, first loop would be for the columns, sorry, the rows, and second loop, there is a nested loop, will be for the columns. Okay, so let's just do this thing for int I equals to 0. Sorry, here we need to remember that I should begin with 1. Okay, usually loops begin with 0, but the XML naming scheme does not start with a 0. If you would see here, it starts with a 1. So we need to be careful about that, and that is why our loop will also end at is equals to, less than or equals to, and not just less than. Okay, so we need to be careful about all these things, small things, but we need to be careful about this thing. Okay, and let's just copy this thing, and I plus plus, and int j is equals to 1, j less than equals to webx columns dot size j plus plus. Okay, so we have got the rows and columns over here. What we are going to do now is, now we are going to fetch the individual elements. Okay, so for that thing I will need this XPath. Okay, as this is traversing till the columns. Okay, individual columns inside this thing. Okay, so how we are going to do that, let's just figure out. Okay, I've copied that XPath, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a web element and webx. I should come up with much more lucrative naming scheme, I guess, but yeah, find element by dot XPath, and just end the expression over here, and just add this thing. Okay, and here what we need to do is we need to modify it according to the variables that we have used for the row and column. As I said earlier, we have used just a minute, let's just not mess this up, and we have used, I guess, square brackets, and let's not forget the brackets, or we're having to have more problems to deal with. J and here. Okay, I guess we have messed up something. Unclosed string literal, so I guess I've closed it here. I don't know why it's showing the error. Okay, I guess it is not. Is having, sorry, I'll just copy this path again over here, and copy and just paste. Okay, XPath. Okay, so this bracket was pending, sorry. So here what we are going to do is we are putting a square bracket. Inside the square bracket we are going to put a J, and here inside this square bracket we are going to put a I. So these are for the rows and columns part. Okay, and what we are going to do is we are going to see the values that will be thrown over here. System.out.print, and sorry, we'll see this thing and just space over and good. So here we'll see webx dot get text, and here just to make it look like a tabular form. Okay, so we are going to put here a print ln will put it into a next line. It will add a \n and a carry is returned to the next line. Okay, so we should get the list of the movies over here from fetch from this thing. Okay, so after that we could put that data into some kind of Excel file or any sort of a thing that we need. Okay, so let's just see. Yeah, see here it is getting all the data that we requested. Okay, the list of the 250 movies. Okay, and this is crawling out all the data as per our requirements. Okay, so once it's done it will automatically close the browser. So we are getting close to 250. Yeah, we are done. Okay, so we'll just verify this thing. The first movie is Shawshank Redemption, and the last movie is yeah, Dances with the Wolves, and yeah, we are good to go. And here what has happened is it has taken the name, the serial number, and this thing and the rating over here, right? So what we need here is we need to know about the link of the movies as well. So this is kind of you could say a special case that we want to work on. Okay, so here if we find out this thing, let's just check which column this is. Okay, so this is the first column and this is the second column, title column. Okay, so what we will do is we need to get the link as well, the hyperlink as well. Okay, and this is the hover text which is stored inside some other field, I guess. Let me check. Okay, yeah, so this hover text is stored inside this thing in the title property. Okay, so what we need to do is, apart from the movie name, we also need the hyperlink of that movie and the title or the director credits, those are. Okay, so what we'll do is this is the second element, third, fourth, fifth, I guess. These are two elements that are co-joined. So what I will do is I will just put an if condition over here. If condition, if j equals 2, and j equals 1 would be, I want to see what all things it prints when j is 1. J is 1, and let me check what it prints when j is 2. So we are testing it out. Okay, so like I'm sure it is having the attribute somewhere. What is the name attribute, title attribute or something? Okay, so I'm not sure where it is. Is it in the title or the this thing? So we are doing this you could say kind of a trial and error based thing. Okay, so telemetry is up and running. I guess we are not getting anything at this thing title. Okay, so it is at 2. Okay, so we'll just close this thing and yeah, good to go. We have closed it early, so it is giving sort of an error, but no issues with that. We'll just put it over here. It should come along with the attribute. Okay, and director name, right? Director name, webx.get attribute, title, and movie name. Yeah, we could just put a few more spaces. Yeah, and we are good to go. J1, we'll see if we are having a href over here. If you are getting any href, then well and good. Okay, it has opened up, I guess, the file. Okay, it is showing null. It is still not showing anything yet. Okay, okay, it is showing the name of the movie properly, but it is not showing the hyperlink. Okay, so I guess it's not able to find the hyperlink properly. But I guess yeah, we are stopped at TD. Okay, so that is why it is not able to find that hyperlink. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to find this thing, and okay, td, inside td you have this hyperlink a. So what we will do here is we'll simply add a front slash and a. Okay, and this should fix all the problems, I guess. Let's just see. Okay, and the site has started up. Okay, let's see what error we got. Okay, and at what line have we got it? Okay, J1 is working perfectly fine. And what I've done here is it is showing the attribute. It has showed the, if j is equals to 1, it has showed properly. When j is equals to 2, it should is having some error in that context. Okay. Okay, so yeah, okay, I understood. So only in the second attribute it is having this thing, what do you call it, the anchor tag. In the other attributes it does not have an anchor tag. So what we need to do is we need to split these two elements. Okay, and for that what we'll do is we'll just copy this thing, webx and link. Okay, link, and just end this thing, just close this thing. Or rather we'll use another approach. Okay, we will use a relative link. Okay, so what is exactly a relative link? So the first one doesn't have a href attribute, that is for sure. Okay, so what we need to do here is web element webx2 is equals to webx dot get shadow root dot find elements by tag name. Okay, a, there's an anchor tag. Okay, this is something that should work, cannot be. Okay, sorry, find element. Okay, webx2 should work over here, webx2, and let's just put it from here, movie name, and just put some spaces, and for the movie link we'll see if we are getting that thing, get attribute href. Okay, let's see if we are in the right path. Okay, you just close the old one, right? That should cause a lot of problems for us. Okay, so it is not running, this approach is not running for us. Okay, what we'll do is we don't need all this thing, so we just need the name of this, and the, could say we need a specific attribute, so we just get rid of this thing and we are good to go, I guess. Webex get attribute. Okay, why is it not taking the get attribute now? Okay, sorry, so we just missed out a plus over here, and now we'll see. Okay, it is still not showing us the what do you call it, the director's name. Now it should. Now that I've added, sorry, I clicked by mistake. Let's just stop this thing and ended it prematurely, and I'll just do a final test over this thing. Let me connect the power. Okay, and now it should work. Okay, so yeah, this is now working properly. It is giving you the director's credit and movie name as well as the hyperlink. Okay, so this is what we wanted to do over here. Okay, so this should give you the director name and the star cast. Okay, and movie name and the hyperlink of the actual movie. Okay, so this was kind of, you could say, a figurative case of using Selenium as a web scraper or sort of a thing. That is what I've shown you. But the idea behind testing is you have to take all the data. Okay, so in this case I was getting the data, so this data I could verify with some other source. Like if we have some kind of CMS or some kind of system that interacts with and puts the data, so I could fetch this data and I could compare the data that is coming from the CMS. I could compare both of these data and then I could make a report out of it. Okay, so this was just a demo purpose that we had created this thing. In the upcoming videos we will see how we could use Selenium to hit different types of data, or you could say different types of data elements, or you could say DOM elements, and based on that we have to build a test report. So for building test report we will be using multiple types of tools. So like primarily the reports in Selenium are created using TestNG itself. We get this reports really well in TestNG, but if we need to create well furnished reports, so then we have different types of options like Jasper reports, iText and all those things. We could integrate those as well. So for now we'll be not concerned about all those advanced reporting technologies, but in the next video we will see how unit test integrations and stuff work, and how we could test over a series of data that we read from, you could say, Excel file or any other text source, and we could put that data into your Selenium this thing tester, and it should give you a certain output and reports could be prepared over it. Okay, so for now we'll end this video over here, and in the next video we will see about from the basics. Okay, so this was just a clear introductory video, and yeah, thank you.